Gillian Shephard, everyone thinks they know Margaret Thatcher, or many politicians think they know. When you did the research on your book, did you get a different kind of impression of her?
Well, I engaged 36 former colleagues of Margaret Thatcher in the production of this book. Many of them are here because many of them were in the cabinet, John Major, Douglas Hurd and so on. But other people as well. A garden girl from Number 10, one of the secretaries, an ambassador, civil servants, people in the Conservative Party, a couple of journalists, Mike Brunson and Peter Riddle, a whole range.
And what were their
people.
impressions then?
Well, you'll have to read the book. I
Give us a sneaky preview.
I thoroughly recommend it. I majored on her attitude to work, the fact she couldn't bear a moment to be wasted. People wrote about that, but a lot of other stuff came out, and I was able then to talk about her courage, really her bad behaviour towards certain cabinet colleagues, for example, Geoffrey Howe, her great kindness to subordinates, amongst whom I include myself, because I was only in Parliament for the last 2 years of her period in office. And, of course, the fact that she fascinated, for example, Ronald Reagan and President Mitterrand. So a lot of new stuff has come out. Some of it has come from me because I had a long conversation with Mitterrand in semi-private when he questioned me closely on what kind of man could possibly be married to Mme Thatcher. Who
an interesting question.
Well, indeed, who was her couturier, who was her visagiste. Didn't know the answers to those, did not know the answers. But
well,
a lot of new stuff has come out.
Jan Royall, you were on the other side.
I was.
And still are, of course, but you were on the other side. I mean, how formidable an opponent was she?
Well, she was, and it was an astonishing feat for a woman to become a Prime Minister. However, I have to say that, her legacy is great in many ways, but in the 1980s, she undermined families, she undermined our communities, and I you know, with great respect to her as a former Prime Minister, I think that she did an awful lot of bad things in our society. There is no such thing as society. Remember that phrase?
Which she didn't say.
Well,
actually,
but that is attributed to her. But I mean, I think at that time our society began to fragment, and we haven't recovered from that.
But do you think, Gillian Shephard, that she did very much to advance the cause of women? She herself, yes, succeeded in getting to the top, but it's quite often said of her that she didn't do very much to help pull up others.
The only thing she did was to make it clear that a woman could be Prime Minister. I think that was quite a big achievement myself. Before her, there was no thought of a woman being a Prime Minister. After her, we and our daughters and granddaughters know that someone can. That's what she did. She did a number of other things for families, which are all in the book, I quote.
Oh, yes, another plug for the book. But Susan Kramer,
that was what she did.
What's your impression, then, of her, in terms of a legacy, if you like, for women?
Oh, for women, I mean, I think so few women identified with her. She just seems so formidable, so hard. It was
a tough world then, wasn't it? Even tougher for women.
It was definitely a tough world. I think an awful lot of people, frankly, of the following generation almost put over entering politics, that women said, well, I'm just not like that. If that's what you have to be like in order to play, then that's not me. And I do think that, you know, I don't think that was intended, but I do think that was a consequence. I think she almost went down better in the United States, which was where I was living for a lot of this, where the kind of tough woman image is something that people find much easier to live with. And I think probably people like Hillary Clinton and others felt much more liberated by her. So she may have a legacy outside the UK, I think, more than in it, within the sort of context of women becoming ambitious in politics.
In 18 years, she had one female member of the cabinet. We still only have 22% of MPs who are female in the House of Commons. Nothing really, very little change for women.
Yes, I mean, that was an opportunity missed, do you think?
It was an opportunity missed, and I make that clear. I regret it. And she could have made people like Linda Chalker or Angela Rumble cabinet ministers, and she did not do that. There may have been a number of reasons, but maybe she just liked being Queen Bee. I mean, maybe she did.
But they say that she liked male colleagues better, that she got on better with the guys.
I find all of this very interesting. I don't know how many people here, or indeed outside, have read this Sheryl Sandberg book called Lean In. It's only just out. There's been a tremendous
I've read the
amount,
excerpts in the papers.
Absolutely. And what she said was, for men, success and likeability are intertwined. For women, the reverse is the case. Now, I think this is a very interesting observation, and I actually think it's true. She backs it up with a lot of research, and she also says, you know, women have got to lean in other words, get involved,
they've got to be
which is what Margaret Thatcher did against a lot of odds at the beginning.
All right, just very briefly, will we have a female Prime Minister soon?
I would hope so.
I would
but
certainly
not
hope so. I
until
can see potential women leaders of my particular party.
And I do too, but there isn't a vacancy at the moment.
No,
I'd like
all
to
right,
make
yes,
that
you
clear.
made that clear.